Hey guys, so we got a 2007 Nissan Sentra with a 2.0 here. This transmission is a CVT transmission. It holds 8.7 quarts of fluid, and we are going to change the transmission fluid and filter today. If you need that filter number, it is a TF, Tom Frank 705, and that's a 21 volt pan. So let's go ahead and get down there. We're going to use a 3/4 inch socket, and we will be using a 10 millimeter socket. And let's go ahead and start getting that pan off. But first, we will drain it a bit. This 19 out, and let's go ahead and drain this bad boy first. We got a drain pan here ready to go. And let's crack it loose and get it draining. Doesn't even look like transmission fluid. It looks like oil, huh? That is some nasty stuff. That is just now starting to turn red. That's incredible. That is so nasty. Way overdue, right? Okay, so we'll let her drain a little bit more and we'll put the bolt back in. Okay guys, so we got the bolt back in. Now, if you do not have a drain plug, then what you're probably gonna want to do is start with the bolts back here first, and then take them all out except for maybe these 3 or 4 across the top. Let it lean down and empty, then hold it up and pull the rest. In our case, we were able to drain it, so we can just buzz them all off. If you're gonna use electric or air, help yourself, buzz them off. When you put it back on, put them back on by hand. Don't use electric or air. That's where the most common leaks are. They leak because they're over tightened, not because they're not tight enough, because they're over tightened. It takes very little, I'll show you here, but it takes very little to hold those up there. Okay, let's buzz them all off. Okay, so I am gonna use air. I already started pulling them here. Again, this is just to take them off, not to put them on. You never put them on with air. The pan drained because of the angle I'm on. It's still running that direction, so get your pan back under there just in case. Your hand up as you pull out the last bolt. Let it down slowly. Tip it towards the pan. See it draining more? Let it drain for a second. It's just still dripping off the valve body. And then we can go ahead and lower it down. Maybe lay a rag down there. Oh, we got metal shavings in there. That's not good. Okay, so let's go ahead and pull the pan off. We'll slide this aside. And we can move our container here and just lay a rag out. It won't drip too much now. So in this pan, we are gonna have some fuzzies around here a little bit. That's clutch disc, but in this case, that's a lot. That dust right there, if you see that, that's okay. That's not too bad. What we're concerned with is the metal flakes. See all of them? Not good at all. I hate to see that. But all right, so we're trying to buy some time with this bad boy. Clearly it's gonna have some shifting issues probably even after we're done with this one, but it's gotta be better than it was, right? So, and this way we know too what's going on inside this pan. So let's get this all cleaned up. Let's get this old gasket off of here. That's gonna be a little bit of a pain. We'll use a razor blade or something to get in there. And let's take all this off and clean up this pan. So I hit it with a little bit of brake clean just to get the transmission fluid out of the way. I was able to get the gasket up and off in one shot. It's laying right there. And now I'm just gonna wipe it off or clean it up with the wire wheel. See how there's parts of the gasket material still on there? So we're just gonna go around. If you don't have one of these, just use what you can, but you can see the dark spot there. We want all the white gone. And just clean it all up all the way around the outside. Then we're gonna do what's called pinging this pan. If you've never seen my videos, you're gonna enjoy this. You gotta get this done to it. So let me get this cleaned up real quick and then we will ping it. Got it ready here, prepped. Now, there's 3 things that you have to do to make sure that these do not leak. The first thing is getting it clean, just as clean as that. Take extra time. It took me a little longer, but it's well worth it. Trust me, you don't want to have to go back and remove this because it leaked. And I've done thousands of these in a transmission shop that I used to work at years ago. This is how they did it, and we've never had them leak. I've never had them leak. So 1, I clean it. 2, I ping it. 3, I do not over tighten it. And I'll show you that in a little bit. So pinging, get a nice flat surface. This concrete will work. Stick your pan on it. This one's in good shape. See how it hardly moves at all? That's good. But what happens when these get over tightened is they actually lift the metal away just a little bit in that direction. There'll be a small bubble here. Again, this one's in good shape. I don't think this transmission fluid's ever been changed. So what I do is I get a socket just a little bit bigger than the size of the hole, and I set it on there and I tap it. And I tap it kind of hard, flat, and flush, like that. I'm gonna hold it and I'm gonna work around, and I'm just gonna do it real quick, one time every single one of them. Again, this one's in really good shape, but I always ping them. Whether I think they're good or not, I still ping them all the way around. So let me ping them, and then let's get it up there and I'll show you how tight you wanna get this. Okay, so we got the gasket sitting on there. I do not use RTV on these. I never use them. GM got smart, and what they do is the bolts actually squeeze through the gasket and they get held up there. Nissan has not figured that out yet. They're just a little bit smaller, and so they get held up there. But I'll tell you something GM has not figured out that Nissan figured out. That drain pan bolt. These guys need to get together and talk, because they both got excellent ideas, but they're just not quite there all the way. So again, they're not going to hold in there. Most other gaskets will, but we're thankful we had the drain pan. So let's get up under there. Let's get ready to slide this in. We'll pop our filter on, and we'll run these bolts up all by hand first. All by hand first, a couple threads. Do not run any of them in until you've run them all in by hand first. You don't want it pinching sideways. You want it to go on nice and easy. Let's get the filter off. That's going to be a 10 millimeter as well, and 3 bolts. Okay, so here is our filter here. 1, 2, and somewhere over there is 3. Somewhere. There it is. Sorry. 1, 2, and 3 bolts. Let's pop those off and pull that filter out of there. Okay, so the first bolt right here was short. This one is long, in case you forget, and that one's short. But I'm sure you'll figure it out when you go get ready to put them back, right? So, because the long one won't fit in the hole. So we're gonna go ahead and just pull it off just like that. My God, look how dirty that is. Did you get to see that? I hope. That is just nasty. Oh, look at that. Doesn't it look like engine oil? Nasty, horrible. Okay, let's grab the new filter, and we'll lube up that little O-ring right there, and we'll get this bad boy put on. Okay, so here's our filter, here's our O-ring. Just use a little bit of the old oil and get it on there nice and lubed up and slide it on there. I'm gonna put a link, I'll put a short link in the description below for this oil filter if you need it. And I will also put the CVT transmission fluid. Make sure that you're using CVT on this. I don't know if I said that, but definitely needs CVT. So there she goes. Lube it up a little bit. Let's pop it in there and run our 3 bolts in. So the O-ring on your filter wants to act like it doesn't want to go in. Just give it a pop and it will shove in. So we'll go ahead and throw the long one in there first. And we'll throw the 2 shorties in. 1, 2. Make sure that you did lube up that O-ring just a little bit. It doesn't take much. I mean, you can see how much is on my hand right here. I mean, that right there, that's enough to lube up that O-ring right there. Just a little bit around the outside like that and the inside before you slide it on. So let's snug up those 310s. So we got them all back up in there now, and now at this point, they're all loose. And we do that to all of them and get them just in the about 2, 3, 4 threads down. Now, this is how tight that you want to get this, guys. So right now it's extremely loose. See, I can't even run it backwards. So let me snug her down here. Right there. Now, I'm going to grab my hand right here just like this. I'm not holding, notice the end of the ratchet here. Let me get out here where you can see it. I'm not holding it like this. I'm holding it up here. So I get it on there, just like that. And now I just snug it up. That much. Stop. I'm literally, it's kind of hard to turn at that point. If you can hold it like this, and that's even better. So maybe I'll throw an extension on it, but that's as tight as you want it right there. Just stop and do that all the way around. And then let's get up there and put some fluid on there. So now we're gonna go ahead and pull the dipstick out of there. And here's where we'll throw a funnel in, and let's go ahead and start pouring the fluid in. Now, again, it calls for 8.7 quarts. What I like to do is put about 8 in there. If you want to, take your old fluid and pour it into quart jugs, or if you have an empty gallon jug, and find out exactly how much you got out of there. Put that much in there, start it, run it through the gears, and then recheck it. And always check it when it's running, because it is transmission fluid. There's a mark on there that says hot and maybe cold, but I think this one just says hot. Yeah, right there. So that says hot. and then here's your full level. So that checkered mark right there, from there to there, equals 1 quart. Only time that it's up here is when the engine is hot. So when it's cold, it's still when you start it up. It means the fluid's cold. You haven't ran it too much yet, but you still have to check it while the engine is running and after you run it through a couple of gears, because you need to fill up the torque converter and such and valve body. So always do it when it's running. So again, if it's in the morning when you check it, then the cold level, it needs to be full right there. If it's hot and you've been running it all day, it should be right about here because the fluid expands. I think you understand that. So again, we're going to go ahead and top it off with about 8 quarts. We'll run it through the gears just for a split second, and then we'll top off the rest of the fluid where we need it according to the dipstick. So again, I'll put a link in the description below for you for the fluid and filter. I hope this video helps you out. Please click like, please click subscribe, click on my name underneath this video for all my other how-to videos, and as always guys, enjoy.